Invincible Season 2 came out last week, with Episode 2 coming out tonight. And thank God, because Gen V ended last week, so I definitely needed some more gratuitous superhero violence to occupy my time. So the episode starts off with Mark fighting the Immortal, and honestly, this is what threw me for a loop too, because it's been a known thing that Immortal does not bang with Omni-Man or his son, for, obvious reasons. We definitely got some hands on him, but I mean, he just can't keep up with Vulturemites. Mark even makes it a point to tell him that he's been hit harder, like way harder. Which also I think was another way to try to get them to throw this red herring at you, because he's obviously fought Omni-Man, and obviously that would be what he would be referring. But Omni-Man shows up and pretty much shuts that whole shit down and does away with Immortal in the same way he always does. He cuts his head off, but this time Mark actually crushes it, so that way he cannot come back from it. And then basically the big reveal that this is obviously not the Mark we know, or the world that we know, due to this Jumbotron video where he basically is explaining to the rest of the surviving humans that the Vulturemite Empire is on their way to pretty much take over. Fast forward, and basically you follow this guy, Angstrom Levy, and Levy definitely bothered me too. If anybody is a fan of the comic books, them calling him Levy is definitely heartbreaking. Omni-Man and Invincible pretty much show up to the Resistance base and start fighting the rest of the heroes like Adam Eve and Robot. And what Mark does to Adam Eve is so messed up. He obviously doesn't want to kill her, because I guess he, still has some kind of feelings for her. He breaks her neck to paralyze her, so that way he can basically keep her around just to visit her whenever he feels like it. Yeah, some fates are worse than death. And right before Invincible and Omni-Man go and kill everybody, Angstrom Levy is pulled through a portal, and for anybody who knows, we know exactly what that means. So fast forward a little bit, and then we have Angstrom Levy pretty much breaking out the Mauler twins from prison, because he needs the help with a project that only they can help with. Long story short, this Angstrom Levy with the portal powers has gone through pretty much all these different dimensions to grab all the different variants of him, and pretty much wants to put all of their memories and knowledge into his brain, so that way he can pretty much solve each universe's or dimension's problems and create a universal utopia. Noble idea, but usually the road to hell is paved with good intentions, so we know how this is going to go. Meanwhile, our Mark is struggling with the guilt of, I guess, his dad destroying everything and ruining his life along with everybody else's. So he's struggling a lot to try to, figure out how to still be a superhero without necessarily becoming his father in the process. So Invincible ends up working for Cecil because he wants to get back in the action and actually make a difference. And so he ends up sending him to go stop the Mauler twins from whatever it is they're doing, because they don't know. So when he goes there, of course, the fight ensues, and, all hell is breaking loose. With a bunch of different variants of the Mauler twins coming out of a whole bunch of different portals, they are beating the hell out of Invincible, and Angstrom Levy basically doesn't want his utopia to be built on a pile of blood. So he ends up pulling off the helmet, which is a mistake, because as the Mauler twins try to tell him, it's too much power, and the whole machine explodes along with the 10 other ones across 10 other dimensions with all of his variants hooked up to him. So a lot of people dead. One of the Mauler twins that's from our universe ends up getting deformed, obviously, because of the explosion. Obviously, we're going to get another clone. But he ends up hearing somebody under the rubble, and he thinks it's one of his brothers, but it's just Angstrom Levy, who was also deformed from the explosion. Now, the issue really here isn't necessarily how he looks, which is definitely an issue, but all of the memories from all his different variants are all pushed into his brain, and he can't decipher the difference between his memories and theirs. So he's gone a little cuckoo. Because as we saw in the beginning of the episode in that alternate dimension, a lot of these Invincibles are evil. If anything, our Mark is unique, just like, I guess, 616 Reed Richards being unique in the Council of Reeds, because he chose his family over, science, unlike the other Reeds. Our Mark chose to resist Omni-Man and fight back versus joining him. So that says something. Angstrom Levy can't put that together, and basically he wants to kill Invincible by any means necessary, because, he's killed a lot of people in the process. So really quick, Robot ends up having a moment where he gets scared in the battlefield, and Cecil ends up pulling a team to side after their battle and tells them that their failures pretty much are due to a lack of leadership. So he ends up bringing in Immortal to be their new leader, and there's also this guy on the left there named Bulletproof. Now, the suit that Bulletproof is wearing is definitely the same suit that Invincible almost had in that first season, until he asked for something a little more iconic. Bulletproof's powers are pretty similar to Invincible's. Granted, he's not half Vulturemite, but it's the same, I guess, the Superman archetype, where he's super strong, he can fly, invulnerability, that kind of stuff. On the comics, he ends up replacing Invincible for a little while, and because it's superheroes and people wear masks, nobody can really tell a difference, even though he's black, which is kind of like the irony of it. I don't know if they're necessarily going to go that route, because Mark is still working for Cecil here, where he's not necessarily off somewhere doing anything else. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. But season 2 so far is amazing. Cannot wait for the episode to come out tonight. Once again, perfect timing with Gen V being over and Loki also coming to a close tonight. So, oh man, this is going to be the only show that I got moving forward.